Ever wonder why your money disappears even when you're trying to save? It's not just you. It's not your lack of willpower or some budgeting app you forgot to open. It's the system, noisy, overwhelming, and designed to keep you spending. But here's the part no one tells you. The answer isn't always earning more. It's learning how to spend less like the Japanese do. Because in Japan, people aren't just frugal, they're intentional. And once you understand how they manage money, you'll start seeing your own life and your bank account in a completely different way. Now, full disclosure, I didn't grow up with any of this. My version of saving was skipping takeout once and feeling virtuous. But then, I stumbled onto a simple truth. Some of the calmest, happiest, most financially stable people I've met weren't making six figures. They were just doing things differently. Let me tell you what I saw. The first thing that stood out to me: cash is still king. Seriously. While we're out here swiping plastic or tapping our phones to buy snacks we don't even want, Japanese families are stuffing actual cash into physical envelopes, and somehow, they're happier doing it. Why? Because when you use cash, you feel every transaction. It's physical, it's real. Pulling out a 1,000 yuan note and handing it over? That's a whole different experience than mindlessly tapping your card at checkout. One woman I met in Osaka told me she splits her income into weekly envelopes every Sunday night. Rent, food, transportation, emergency, all separated. No mixing, no oops purchases. If it's not in the envelope, it doesn't happen. At first, I thought, isn't that limiting? But she laughed and said, it's the opposite. I never feel broke because I always know exactly what I have. Imagine that. No more checking your account with one eye closed. No more math gymnastics at the register. Just calm, control, clarity. And that envelope habit, it's just the beginning. Because underneath it all is this idea that money isn't just a number, it's a flow, daily ritual. Like when I saw a family shopping at a street market in Kyoto. No list, no chaos, just quiet focus. They bought what they needed, not what was on sale. They weren't loading up on 3-for-1 deals or giant bags of stuff that'll rot in the fridge by Thursday. It wasn't about cheap, it was about enough. That mindset shift hit me hard, because back home, we're taught to hunt for bargains, to chase discounts, to save money by buying more of what we don't need. But in Japan, saving money isn't a game of finding loopholes, it's about spending with purpose. And honestly, once I saw that in action, I couldn't go back. So I started trying it myself. No fancy spreadsheets, no budgeting apps with 1,000 categories, just cash and envelopes. And within 2 weeks, I realized I'd been lying to myself about my spending for years. There's something humbling and honestly kind of painful about pulling out an envelope marked groceries and realizing you already blew through it on iced coffees, snack runs, and a quick bite that turned into $30 and regret. But that's the point. The discomfort is the lesson. And here's where things got even more interesting. Japan. They have this budgeting system called Kakeibo. It's not just about tracking expenses, it's about reflecting on why you spend in the first place. Each month, you write down your income. Then you plan how much you want to save. After that, you break down your spending into just 4 categories: needs, wants, culture, unexpected. And here's the twist: at the end of the month, you don't just total things up. You ask yourself questions. Was this spending necessary? How did I feel when I bought this? What can I do better next month? No guilt, no judgment, just self-awareness. It's like journaling, but for your wallet. I'll be honest, the first time I did it, I was shook. I realized half the stuff I bought wasn't about need. It wasn't even about want. It was about boredom, insecurity, impressing people who weren't paying attention anyway. And here's where the emotional part really hit me. Every unnecessary dollar I spent wasn't just wasted, it was stolen from something that actually mattered. From a dream I said I couldn't afford. From peace of mind I thought I didn't deserve yet. That's when this stopped being about money and started being about identity. Because when you see how Japanese households budget not just the envelopes, but the mindset, you realize it's not about restriction, it's about alignment. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're not chasing trends or living off borrowed money to post highlight reels on social media. They just want enough. Enough to feel secure, enough to enjoy life, enough to sleep well at night. And that really made me stop and think, what if enough was actually the goal? That's when everything changed. After a few weeks of living this way, really living it, not just pretending something weird happened, I stopped feeling broke. My income hadn't changed. I wasn't suddenly making more money, but my mindset, completely different. I wasn't chasing dopamine through random purchases. I wasn't stressed at the register. I wasn't avoiding my bank app like it was a horror movie, because I finally understood my money, and more importantly, I respected it. And that respect, that daily, quiet respect, turned into something way bigger than I expected. Control, confidence, calm. The Japanese don't save money because they're cheap. They save because they believe that money should serve your life, not the other way around. And when you see a culture where saving is normalized, where small daily habits are celebrated instead of mocked, where quiet wealth is more respected than flashy debt. It sticks with you. Like this retired couple I met in Nara. Nothing fancy, small house, home-cooked meals, no car, just bikes. And yet, they traveled to over 20 countries, all paid in cash. When I asked them how they did it, the woman smiled and said, "We never spent money on things we didn't need, so we could always afford what we wanted." That line hit me like a truck, because that's the real secret. Frugality isn't sacrifice, it's strategy. It's not about saying no to life, it's about saying yes to the parts that actually matter. And the best part, you don't need to move to Japan. You don't need to start tomorrow with a perfect budget or a fresh journal. You just need to pick one habit, any habit, and start paying attention. Try the envelope system for 1 week. Ask yourself why you're buying something before you swipe. Track your spending without judgment, just with curiosity. Because once you start thinking like this, you can't unsee it. You'll start spotting leaks in your wallet and your time. You'll feel proud, not deprived. And slowly, quietly, you'll start becoming someone new, one in control, one intentional, someone free. If this helped you rethink your money, hit subscribe. I've got more videos coming that dive even deeper into systems like Kikibo, minimalist living, and real stories of people who changed their entire lives by changing how they spend. Drop a comment. What's one thing you refuse to stop spending money on, even if you're living frugally? I'll be in the replies. Let's talk. And hey, if nobody's told you this yet today, you don't need to be rich to feel rich. You just need to stop giving your power to things that don't give it back. Start small. Stay curious. You've got this.